Hello, and a very, very warm welcome to you. It is always a pleasure to have you back here with us at English Made Easy. For anyone who might be joining us for the first time, our entire purpose, the reason this channel exists, is to help you learn and master the English language in the most straightforward, engaging, and real way we possibly can. We believe that language isn't just a set of grammar rules to be memorized from a dusty textbook. It's a living, breathing tool that allows you to think more clearly, to feel more deeply, to build powerful arguments, and to connect with the incredible, diverse world of ideas and people all around you. Today, we are doing something a little different, something I'm very excited about. We are going to dive back into one of the most debated questions in human history, but we're going to look at it from a completely new angle. The question, of course, is, can money buy happiness? Now, for those who watched my past video, you might be thinking, wait a minute, I remember this topic. And you would be right. In the old video, which you can find in the description, I stood right here and I made the most compelling case I could for why I personally believe that yes, money can buy happiness. But I want to be clear. I believe that is a completely valid, strong, and defensible position, and I stand by every word I said in that video as a legitimate perspective. But here's the thing. Today, I'm going to flip the script entirely. I am going to become the champion for the other team. I will build the most robust, emotionally resonant, and logically sound case that I possibly can for the timeless argument that money, in the final analysis, absolutely cannot buy happiness. As we construct this counter-argument piece by piece, we are going to be working with some truly magnificent, high-level vocabulary. These are the kinds of words that allow you to move beyond simple statements and express complex, nuanced ideas with incredible precision and elegance. I know they can seem intimidating, but our promise here is to make them feel simple and natural. We'll explore why they are so much more powerful than their simpler synonyms and how they can completely transform your ability to be persuasive, whether you're in a debate, writing a critical essay, or even just trying to explain your deepest feelings to a friend. Now, a strong argument never ignores its opposition. It confronts it head on. We will address those crucial points of the previous podcast in detail later in our discussion. And here's my challenge to you today. I want you to act as the judge. Listen to the case I build today, and then if you have a moment, perhaps go back and rewatch the previous video, link in the description. I want you to decide which argument you find more compelling, more persuasive, more true to your own experience of life. Please, let me know your decision and your reasons in the comment section below. I am genuinely fascinated to see which side resonates more with you all, and your own arguments will make this entire conversation so much richer. The best way to learn is by doing, so I invite you to say these words out loud with me. Even if you're just whispering to yourself in a quiet room, the physical act of forming the sounds makes an enormous difference. I'll be speaking at a natural, conversational pace, just like a native speaker would, so you can tune your ear to the real rhythm and music of the language. Are you ready to take a walk on the other side? Let's begin. The question is on the floor. Can money buy happiness? And my answer for today is a clear, unwavering no. Money is an essential tool for navigating the modern world, a key that unlocks the door to survival and basic comfort. But it is not, and it can never be, the source code of genuine, deep, and lasting happiness. In fact, I will argue that the single-minded pursuit of wealth doesn't just fail to deliver happiness, it often becomes the very obstacle that leads us away from it. Our first point of order must be to address the most obvious thing money can buy: stuff. The shiny new phone, the beautiful clothes, the powerful car, the luxurious vacation. There is an undeniable rush when you first get these things, a feeling of accomplishment, of excitement, of pleasure. It's a spike of bright, warm light in your brain. You worked for it. You earned it. You bought it. And it feels good. But I want you to be really honest with yourself. How long does that good feeling actually last? That intense burst of joy is real, but it is also profoundly evanescent. Let's sit with that word for a moment. It's a beautiful one. Evanescent. Say it with me now. Evanescent. Evanescent. The main stress is on that third syllable, ness. Evanescent. It has a soft, almost disappearing sound to it, which is perfect for its meaning. Evanescent is an adjective. It means something that passes out of sight, memory, or existence very quickly. It's about fading away almost as soon as it appears. You could say fleeting or short-lived, and you would be correct. But evanescent is so much more poetic. It captures not just the shortness of the time, but the sense of something delicate and temporary, like the beautiful, intricate patterns of frost on a window in the morning that vanish as soon as the sun touches them. The happiness you get from a new purchase is the very definition of an evanescent feeling. It's real for a moment, but it has no staying power. There's a powerful psychological principle that explains this perfectly. Scientists call it the hedonic adaptation, or the hedonic treadmill. It sounds complicated, but it describes one of the most fundamental and sometimes frustrating aspects of being human. We get used to things. We are adaptation machines. Imagine you've been dreaming of buying a specific beautiful watch for years. You save up, you finally buy it, and for the first week, you can't stop looking at it. It gives you a little jolt of pleasure every time you check the time. But what about a month later? It's just your watch. What about a year later? It's the thing on your wrist that tells you you're late for a meeting. You have adapted. The joy has faded. Your baseline level of happiness has returned to exactly where it was before. To get that same jolt of excitement again, you now need something bigger, better, more expensive. You are on a treadmill. You have to keep running, keep acquiring, just to feel like you're standing still emotionally. This is the first and perhaps the most fundamental pillar of our argument. The kind of happiness that money can directly buy, the pleasure derived from material possessions and luxury experiences, is inherently evanescent. It is by its very nature a temporary high, not a permanent state of well-being. To believe that the next car, the next house, the next vacation will be the one that finally delivers lasting contentment is to fall into a deceptive trap. It's like trying to build a house out of soap bubbles. They are beautiful for a moment, but they offer no foundation, no shelter, and they will always, always disappear. This constant, exhausting chase for an evanescent feeling doesn't just leave us feeling unfulfilled. It comes at a devastating, often unseen cost. This brings us to the second and I believe the most tragic point in our argument. The obsessive, all-consuming pursuit of wealth has a deeply corrosive effect on the one thing that countless studies and all of human wisdom agree is the single greatest determinant of a happy life: the quality of our human relationships. When the primary goal of our life becomes accumulation, we almost inevitably begin to neglect the very connections that feed our souls. We can become slowly, painfully estranged from the people who matter most. Let's really dig into that word estrange. It has the word strange right there in the middle, and that's a good clue to its meaning. Let's pronounce it together. Estrange. The stress falls on that second syllable. Estrange is a powerful verb. It means to cause someone to no longer be close or affectionate to someone, to alienate. It's not just about a single argument. It's about a growing distance, a cooling of affection, a process of becoming like strangers to people you once loved. If you let your work consume you to the point where you no longer have time for your partner or your children, you risk estranging them. You are physically present, perhaps, but emotionally, you are a million miles away. It's a very sad word, full of the ache of lost connection. Think about how this actually plays out in real life. It's rarely a dramatic movie-like event. It's a slow fade. It's the friend who always cancels dinner at the last minute because a work thing came up. At first, you understand. But after the fifth time, a little wall starts to build. It's the family gathering where one person can only talk about their portfolio, their latest business deal, the market trends. They're there, but they aren't present. They are broadcasting their success instead of connecting with their family. Over time, people stop trying to connect. The phone calls become less frequent. The conversations become more superficial. The invisible thread that connects you to them begins to fray. And then, one day, it snaps. You have become estranged. This isn't just a sad story. It's a scientifically validated reality. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest and most comprehensive studies on human life ever conducted, has followed the lives of hundreds of people for over 80 years. It has tracked their health, their careers, their finances, their relationships, from their teenage years into old age. After all those decades of data, the lead researcher, Dr. Robert Waldinger, said the clearest message from the study is this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier, period. It wasn't their cholesterol levels at age 50 that predicted how they would be at 80. It wasn't the amount of money in their bank account. It was the quality and warmth of their relationships. The study found that loneliness is a poison, that it is as toxic to our physical health as smoking or alcoholism. So here is the second, crushing pillar of our argument: the intense, single-minded focus required to accumulate extraordinary wealth almost always comes at the direct expense of our most vital human connections. This pursuit can estrange us from our families, our partners, and our friends, leaving us wealthy in our bank accounts, but utterly impoverished in spirit. And since deep, authentic relationships are the very bedrock of a happy, meaningful life, any path that systematically dismantles them cannot possibly be the path to happiness. It is instead a path leading directly to a beautifully furnished but profoundly lonely gilded cage. This journey away from connection doesn't just affect our relationships with others, it fundamentally alters our relationship with ourselves. This brings us to what happens on the inside, to our own core identity, when our life's project becomes the accumulation of wealth. Our sense of self becomes fragile, dependent on external validation. We start to build our life not around who we truly are, but around an image, around what we own and how we are perceived by others. We end up living our lives behind a beautiful, elaborate, but ultimately hollow facade. This is a fantastic word borrowed from French, facade. Let's say it with that soft ending, facade. F-A-C-A-D-E, facade. The stress is on the second part, sod. A facade, as a noun, literally means the front face of a building, the part that everyone sees. But we use it far more often as a powerful metaphor. It means a deceptive outward appearance, a false front that we put on to conceal a reality that is less pleasant or less impressive. Someone who is cracking under pressure at work might maintain a calm and confident facade in meetings. A couple whose marriage is falling apart might put on a facade of perfect happiness at a party. It's a performance. It's a mask. Synonyms could be a show, a front, or a pretense. When your life revolves around the pursuit of wealth, your own self-worth becomes dangerously attached to maintaining this facade. The pressure is immense. You have to live in the right kind of house, drive the right kind of car, wear the right brands, send your kids to the right schools. You do these things not necessarily out of genuine desire, but because they're the necessary props for the role you're playing, the role of successful person. The irony is that the more you succeed in building this facade, the less free you become. You are no longer the master of your life, you are the servant of your lifestyle. You become fettered by your own success. Let's learn that incredible word, fettered. 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 The stress is right at the beginning. Fettered.
Fettered is an adjective, and it's a powerful one. It comes from the old noun fetters, which were the iron chains or shackles placed around a prisoner's ankles. So to be fettered means to be restricted, restrained, or chained by something. It's a much stronger image than simply being limited or restricted. It implies a loss of freedom. An artist might feel fettered by the demands of their commercial gallery, unable to paint what they truly love. A society can be fettered by rigid, outdated traditions that prevent progress. This is the great, cruel paradox of a life spent chasing money. We begin the chase believing it is the ultimate path to freedom, freedom from bosses, from bills, from worry. But for so many, it ends in the opposite. You become fettered by the very things you own. You are chained by the anxiety of protecting your wealth, the complexity of managing it, the pressure of displaying it. Your life is no longer your own. It belongs to the facade. Think of the tragic stories you hear about lottery winners, people who are given the ultimate freedom overnight. So many of them report becoming more miserable than before. They are fettered by paranoia, by the constant demands of friends and strangers, by the loss of their simple, authentic connections. They have all the money in the world, but they have lost themselves. This forms the third powerful pillar of our argument. A life devoted to the acquisition of wealth can trap us into constructing a false facade, an exhausting performance of success that can suffocate our true self. Instead of finding the freedom we crave, we can become fettered by our own possessions and the lifestyle they demand, losing the very autonomy and authenticity that are essential ingredients of a happy life. Now, at this point, I can feel a very strong and very valid objection rising up. I can hear you thinking, especially those of you who remember my arguments from video 10. You're saying, hold on a second. This is all well and good for people who are already rich. But what about the person who can't afford rent? What about the parent who can't afford medicine for their sick child? Are you saying money wouldn't buy their happiness? That's absurd. And you are 100% right to raise this point. Any credible argument must grapple with its strongest counterpoints. So let's address this directly and honestly. It is an absolute, undeniable, non-negotiable truth that having a basic level of financial security is a prerequisite for even beginning to have a conversation about happiness. This is a word you absolutely must have in your intellectual toolkit. Prerequisite. Let's break it down. Prerequisite. 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 A prerequisite is a noun. It means something that is required as a prior condition before something else can happen or exist. You can't build a house without first laying a foundation. The foundation is a prerequisite. You can't become a surgeon without first going to medical school. Medical school is a prerequisite. A simpler synonym would be a requirement, a necessity, or an essential condition. So let me be perfectly clear to avoid any misunderstanding. Yes, having enough money to cover your basic needs, food, shelter, safety, healthcare, is an absolute prerequisite for a stable life. You cannot possibly contemplate your life's purpose or your journey of self-actualization if you are living in a state of constant, gnawing fear about your survival. Money is the tool that solves money problems. It removes the very real, very painful, and deeply corrosive negatives of poverty. It takes away the fear, the chronic stress, the instability. But And this is the most critical distinction in this entire debate. Removing a negative is not the same thing as creating a positive. Let's use a metaphor. Imagine you have a terrible, sharp thorn stuck deep in your foot. The pain is all-consuming. You can't walk, you can't think about anything else. It is misery. Now, someone comes along with a pair of tweezers and skillfully pulls the thorn out. In that moment, the relief is so immense, so total, that you would call it pure happiness. The tool, the tweezers, bought you this happiness by taking away your pain. Money is those tweezers. It is the tool that pulls out the agonizing thorn of poverty. And in that sense, it is absolutely essential. But once the thorn is out and the initial wave of relief has passed, what then? Does carrying the tweezers around in your pocket all day continue to make you happier? No, the tweezers have done their job. True happiness is not about the absence of a thorn in your foot. True happiness is what you do now that you are free to walk again. It's about running in a field, dancing with someone you love, climbing a mountain to see the view. Money gets you to the starting line of the race, free from pain. It is essential, but it cannot run the race for you. To build on that, think of it like building a home. Money is the concrete foundation. It is an absolute prerequisite. Without a strong foundation, any house you build will crack, crumble, and collapse. It is non-negotiable. But a concrete slab is not a home. A home is what you build on top of that foundation. It's the walls that provide shelter, the windows that let in light, and most importantly, it's the love, the laughter, the memories, the life that happens inside those walls. To stare at the foundation and say this is a home is to miss the entire point. To confuse the money with the happiness, the foundation with the home, the key with the kingdom is the fundamental mistake that so many people make. This forms the fourth powerful pillar of our argument, the one that honestly confronts the other side. We must, and we do concede that a sufficient amount of money is an essential prerequisite for well-being. Its role in eliminating the misery of poverty is unparalleled. However, its function is primarily subtractive. It removes pain. It does not, in and of itself, add lasting, positive meaning. So, if the relentless chase for money is a trap, if it leads us away from connection and our true selves, where does that leave us? If the kingdom of happiness cannot be found in a vault at the bank, where is its true location? This brings us to the final and, I believe, most hopeful and constructive part of our argument. The answer lies in a radical shift of focus. We must turn our gaze away from what we can get and turn it towards what we can give. It is not found in our salary, but in our service. It is found in discovering our true vocation. Let's savor this beautiful and important word, vocation. Vo-K-Shun. Vocation. The stress lands squarely on that middle syllable, K. Vocation.
A vocation is a noun, and it is so much more than a job. A job is a transaction. You trade your time and skills for money. A career is a path of advancement. But a vocation comes from the Latin word vocare, which means to call. A vocation is your calling. It is a line of work or a major occupation that you feel deeply and personally suited for, one that aligns with your innermost values and gives you a powerful sense of purpose. A job pays the bills. A vocation animates your soul. A high school teacher who feels an unshakable passion for sparking curiosity in young minds has found their vocation. A carpenter who finds deep joy in the craft of shaping wood into something beautiful and useful is living their vocation. It is work that feels less like a labor and more like an expression of who you are.
When you are living your vocation, your work is no longer just the means to an end, the paycheck. It becomes a source of intrinsic reward. It gives you a sense of mastery as you get better at it, a sense of autonomy as you express yourself through it, and a sense of purpose as you see how it contributes to something larger than yourself. This creates a deep, profound satisfaction that no luxury purchase could ever hope to match. Living this kind of life, a life of purpose, of deep connection to others, and of authenticity to oneself, cultivates a state of mind that is the true, priceless treasure. It cultivates a state of equanimity. This is a truly magnificent, high-level word. Let's practice its smooth, flowing sound. Equanimity. Equanimity. The stress is on that third syllable, nim. Equanimity. Equanimity is a noun. It refers to a state of mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in the face of difficulty. It is the ability to remain centered, balanced, and peaceful, even when the storms of life are raging around you. Imagine a deep lake. The surface might be choppy with waves from the wind, but deep down the water is still and calm. A person with equanimity has that deep inner stillness. A good synonym would be composure or tranquility or serenity. This is the polar opposite of the anxious, volatile, striving mindset of the person on the hedonic treadmill. The person whose happiness is tied to their wealth is on a permanent emotional roller coaster, soaring with market gains and crashing with market losses, feeling ecstatic with the new acquisition and empty when the novelty fades. The person who has cultivated a life of purpose and connection, however, can experience equanimity. They face life's challenges not with panic, but with a quiet resilience. They possess an inner stability, a psychological wealth that is not dependent on external circumstances. This is the ultimate form of security. It is the true, unshakable wealth that cannot be bought, sold, or stolen. This brings us to the final pillar of our case today. The true, sustainable path to a happy life lies not in the outward journey of accumulation, but in the inward journey of purpose. It is found in discovering and living our vocation and in nurturing the human connections that give life meaning. This path leads to the ultimate prize, a state of profound inner equanimity, a calm, resilient well-being that is the very definition of a life well lived. So there we have it, a comprehensive case for why money cannot and will not ever be the true source of our happiness. We've talked about the evanescent nature of material joy, how the pursuit of wealth can estrange us from those we love, how it can trap us behind a facade and leave us fettered by our own lives. We've acknowledged that money is a vital prerequisite for escaping misery, but argued that its job ends there. And finally, we've proposed that the real answer lies in finding our vocation and cultivating a deep sense of equanimity. 2 videos, 2 powerful, opposing arguments on one timeless question. Now the final decision rests with you. Which case felt more true to you? The one from the previous video link in the description that money is a vital tool for buying happiness? Or the case I made today that it is a dangerous illusion? I am so eager to hear your thoughts. Write your own perspective, your own arguments in the comments below. Let's continue this essential conversation. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep and challenging exploration today. If this way of learning, of wrestling with big ideas while mastering new language feels right to you, I warmly encourage you to make our podcast a small part of your daily routine. That consistent daily immersion is the single most powerful thing you can do to build true, confident fluency. Money can buy you a bed, but it can't buy you sleep. It can buy you a clock, but it can't buy you time. It can buy you a house, but it can never buy you a home.